Alright, hey everybody, Jeff here. So I figured I'd do a quick video of what's come in this week. And I got some good stuff coming. So first off, we got some used stuff. Now, I'm wearing my Thor shirt here. If you're familiar with Thor, he's one of those 80s, he's still around, but this is 80s metal stuff back in the day. If you look back in my videos from maybe a year or so ago, I did a whole video on my Thor collection. Well, I've added to that. So Thor has a new album coming out next month. So it was online. I went ahead and pre-ordered it and yada yada. So I was kind of in a Thor mood. Started listening to the old catalog and a lot of the stuff that's been reissued recently on Deadline Records. And then I thought, there's probably still a couple pieces of his older stuff on vinyl that I needed to get. And so I went on Discogs. And like with the previous video, you go to look for one particular album and then you go ahead and scan the catalog of the people you're getting it from to buy some additional stuff in order to save shipping. That's what I did. What I went looking for is this John Michael Thor Recruits Wild in the Streets. Now this is a movie that he was in called Recruits. It was basically, I don't think I've ever seen the movie. It's still just on VHS, but it's basically a Police Academy, people would say a rip-off of Police Academy. But anyway, John Michael Thor, it says, that's his name, John Michael Thor, did the soundtrack. And basically, it's just a Thor soundtrack. The actual band, that's Thor. That's the Thor band at the time this was released. But this was released, and most of these songs are songs that have been on either other Thor albums. Maybe these are different recordings. Maybe, but most of these songs already exist, except I think one or two. But so I went looking for this, found a copy for a really good price, went ahead and got it, and it was in really good condition, so I was excited. And while I was there, I went ahead and looked around to see what else he had, and I picked up Second Sighting by Fraley's Comet. Now I believe, aside from Trouble Walking, I think I have most of the early vinyl for Ace Frehley's stuff, so that was good. I was excited. Got this home, threw it on. Love this stuff. Again, great condition. This was one that I'm glad I found, but I wasn't necessarily looking for it, but stumbled across it again looking through his catalog. But David Lee Roth, Little Ain't Enough. I don't know, maybe there was a part of me that didn't even know this was ever released on vinyl. Interesting when it was. Look at the price. Don't you wish you could get that for that today? I paid a little more than that. $2.99 our price. This is the album that has Jason Becker on it. And anyway, it's a really good album, and I was really thrilled to have it. So now when I look back, I have all of the stuff, his early stuff on vinyl. I think the one after this, maybe it wasn't on. I don't know. But this is cool. This is like the next. I had, like I say, all the other ones, but now I got that one. So, and then I picked up this Sammy Hagar, Standing Hampton. I'm a huge Sammy Hagar fan. This is about the time era when I first discovered him, actually. So, and this has heavy metal, the song from the movie, and that was one of the big hits here. There's Only One Way to Rock, another one that everybody knows. But this and Three Lock Box are the two that I just, as a teen, wore out. Loved, and so this was always had a near and dear to my heart. Now this is interesting, and I saw it advertised this way, but you always figure when you buy these things online, people always say, oh, it doesn't include that. This one did. I didn't even ask, but it includes a 45 single, which is an interview, Conversations with Sammy Hagar Part 1 and Part 2. And so that was neat. I'd almost forgot it was listed, and then I got it and I'm like, hey, what's in this case? It feels kind of stiff. And I'm like, oh, it does have that in there. So that was cool. Standing Hampton, Sammy Hagar. Like I said, big Sammy Hagar fan. And the last one I got was Loudness, Hurricane Eyes. Now I showed Loudness in my last video. And again, I think I probably bought, well, I don't know. I ran across that one on a Discogs thing too. Went ahead and got it, the live one. This is one that I've been wanting because now I have the first 3 English albums. English, original ones on vinyl, and those are probably my top 3 because they're the most familiar. You know, we all got Thunder in the East, and it was like wore that out, and then so the next two were good, and then after that, yeah, they started changing singers and doing different things. But so I really wanted this, and there it was, and it was in great condition, and was very inexpensive, and combined with the free shipping. Now that is one thing I was surprised with this particular person I bought from that. People say very good plus or whatever, but his stuff was it was definitely great quality. They came in these thick plastic sleeves. It was just really, I was really impressed with the material I bought from him. So, all right. So then while I was out there looking at that, okay, Thor's got a new album coming out. So sticking with the topic of Thor, there's one of the reissues of his vinyl records that has been released in the past 4 or 5 years that I have yet to pick up, and it actually looks kind of like this because it is the Unchained. I have the deluxe CD, double disc. I have the other edition I have 2 versions of it on CD. One's a reissue with like 2 discs, and one of them is just like a 25th anniversary or something like that. One, I think it's just one of those reissues that has some bonus tracks. Now this is where it started for me. I bought this in an independent. I knew nothing about Thor, never heard of Thor back in the day. This came out '83. And in '80, I probably picked this up in '84. Anyway, I remember buying this like a day or two before I went in the military. And so I didn't have a whole lot of chance to play it until many weeks later because I couldn't take them with me until after basic training. But, it's an independent, it was an basically independent release. It just has that 80s sound where, it's kind of not, it's kind of raw. But, when I got it, I thought, well, this is pretty good. But, it wasn't something that compared to the stuff like Motley Crue, Doc, and all that as far as the production and all of that. But it was kind of, I love comics, so it was kind of one of those things where I bought it because of the connection with the Marvel Comics. So when they reissued this is really nice. It was an EP to begin with. This is on blue. I believe it's also, I think there's another color out there too. This and Only the Strong were released on 2 different colors. But when they released this time around, not only on one side you have the original EP, which I want to say was 5 songs, or was it 6? 6 songs. 5 songs and an instrumental. So you have the original 6, but then on side 2, they have Lightning Strikes Again, the original uncut recordings of 1982. So in 1982, they were touring, and they went in the studio in between shows, and they recorded a bunch of tracks to help promotion. They probably burned a couple, records and cassettes to give out for promotions and stuff. And then later, when they got picked up to do this album, they went in and re-recorded it. So what you have here is a re-recording of those original tracks, and then the original tracks. There is one song on there that is not on the actual album, and then there's one song on the actual EP that came out that's not on there, which is an instrumental. So with having these both, now you have the instrumental on the original official release, and then you have a new song that's not on there that has lyrics. And it's, musically, it's basically the same. It's all the same songs except for that one, but it's more raw. There's some changes in there, recording things, so it's really neat to have. This is what the band looked like back in the day. And like I said, this is basically the time frame and the cover that this came from. Now, also, what was released back in '82 with that original EP was a comic book. They reproduced a comic book, and they put that in this reissue. And it's neat. It's got looks like a typical Marvel type comic book. Sorry, hard to do with one hand. It's got a cool the sleeve inside has, pictures, and it's got a story on the back of it. But anyway, so this has been out for a couple years. I had the CDs, and it's just one of those ones that I had yet to get around to buying. So I went ahead and I said, I need to go ahead and get this. And I started looking around, and I found it for a very, decent price. In that case, that was the only thing I bought from that particular buyer. So that came in the other day. Now, these next couple things. Wait, one more. Okay, Thor. Let's stick with Thor. Thor has a side project, and it's a punk band, and it's basically him on vocals with some other guys, not the Thor band. And they've done some songs here and there over the years, and this was something that came out on a record, and I kind of had, you know, pass it over because I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's different. It's not really Thor, the stuff I'm looking forward to, but you know, it's limited edition, so I'm like, I better grab one of these. So there are two versions, and now this is what confuses me. Okay, first let me show it to you. It's, you know, excuse the language. It's Thor and the S-Boys, Shit the Pants, and Other Favorites. So it's very just tongue-in-cheek, silly, you know, punk type stuff. Now, there's two covers. This is the limited edition cover. So there's 500 copies of this made. Oh, let me show you the vinyl real quick. It is, you know, neat little color, kind of a marble look. You can see that. It actually is kind of gray, but it's a marble look. So there's this cover, which is a artwork, drawn artwork, and there's 100 copies of this. And then there's another cover that has a actual black and white photo. The black, you can't tell in this because it's green, but the black and white photo is really, it's that. It's Thor wearing a wrestling mask and then a picture of the guitar player. And so there's two covers. That one has 400 copies made. This one has 100. So this is the more limited edition. Well, guess which one is sold out? The other one, the 400. I don't understand why they would buy the more common cover quicker. Especially when this is, you know, artwork versus a picture. Anyway, this actually is from the actual label they sell on Discogs, and they actually had both. But the Thor site only had this one available, and it was a couple dollars more than buying it from the actual label. Now, the label, they have a flyer in here for other stuff that they put out. One or two things caught my eye, really weird. I don't know it. TPOS. They have a record. Aside, this is like the only real Thor thing they've done. But they have one, then they have like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Yeah, that's fun. They have Reverend Jim Jones and the People's Temple, a 12-inch vinyl record of the last sermon in Jonestown. Now that's kind of creepy. You know, I'm sure people, that's the kind of stuff they have here. Is a lot of this stuff is weird. They've got Marilyn Manson, Charles Manson singing songs in jail. All of this, you know, just weird stuff. Weird, and they got it on cassette, and they even sell 8-tracks and reel-to-reels and stuff like that. But this particular one that caught my eye is the Jim Jones, Reverend Jim Jones in the People's Temple. 12-inch LP. Jim Jones recorded most of his sermons and services, including this one. In this chilling recording, Jones and his followers debate the merits of revolutionary mass suicide. We know how it ends. Sourced from the original analog tapes. I guess you can press anything. I've seen some weird stuff on vinyl. But anyway, all right, moving on. So that, I just wanted to grab that. It's a novelty. It's Thor related. I don't know. Big Thor fan. I don't know. You know, people listen to him and say, he's kind of cheesy, but I don't know. If you go back and look at my video, I have so much stuff by him, and it's just kind of like one of those things that I collect. Do you have any bands that you collect that are not mainstream necessarily huge, or people might think badly of them? Let me know. Comment below. All right, next up. Now, Scott Waters is at fault for this. Not that he sent them to me, but a few weeks back, a few videos back, he showed some albums. A friend of his, or a contact musician who used to do, I understand he used to do videos, but anyway, he's a one-man musician from Canada, and he releases stuff, and he had some stuff on vinyl, and it was being on sale for the end of the year for really inexpensive, in my opinion. I mean, like the records, they're all EPs. They have 6, 7, 8 songs, but, you know, they were like $10 Canadian. So I got all this stuff. When you put it all together, it was like 20 some odd dollars, and the shipping wasn't even that horrible. But it is Project Gemini. Scott showed it. Scott said it was pretty cool. It's prog rock. And I thought, hey, for that price, I'm going to take a chance. So I wrote and ordered all the stuff, and I got it in the other day. Project Gemini. Now, this is a brand new day. They all come on a color vinyl. This is a pretty purple. If you can see that, it's kind of it's kind of hard to see the color. Anyway, so we got that one. This is his newer one. Man of Science, Man of Dreams. This one's on green. Green translucent. And like I said, all of them have, this one has 5 tracks. Of course, you know, one of them is, the second side is 14 minutes and then 6 minutes. And the first side is almost 8 minutes, almost 7 minutes, almost 6 minutes. So, you know, it's prog, so the songs are long. 1 second. Unfortunately, the first album is only available on, it was available on vinyl but sold out, and is only available on CD, so I got that. The other thing is, I guess I forgot to mention, they are all signed and numbered. I got number 55. There's only 100 of the records made. I got number 55 of 100 on that one. What was my number on this one? 62 of 100 on that one. And then I bought this. Now, somehow, I totally missed that he had just released a new album. Now, it's not on record. That's probably why I didn't grab it, because I was buying the vinyl that was on sale before they sold out. But there was a CD. I totally failed to buy it, so I went ahead and purchased a download. So now at least I have all his music, and it's pretty cool stuff. I like it. It's proggy, and you know, it's good. It's got all, he does all the instrumentation and everything. So anyway, great stuff. Check it out. Yeah, I'll see if I can put a link on there. And the last thing. So these came in yesterday. Finally got mine in, and these are the latest limited run vinyl Christian metal releases. These came in. We got Triton. These are from Retroactive. Triton, if you're not familiar with them, their very first album, their singer sounds a lot like Geddy Lee. Everybody says that. The first album, I remember back in the 80s when I got it, I let a huge Rush fan friend of mine listen to it, and I said, look, Rush has a new album out. They become Christian. He thought for sure that it was Rush. They sounded that good. Anyway, so this is their second album. I think they've lost a tad bit of the Rush influence. The vocals are still there, but I don't think it musically doesn't. It's like they were trying to maybe go away from that. The first album just sounds a lot like what you would expect. But anyway, so the good news and the bad news. Now, you know, I bought this blindly thinking it's Triton. I want their second album. I don't know. I think this one's never been on vinyl. I have the other one, the first album, but then this came out around the time when it was a CD-only world. Sadly, because it was on CD, it was a pretty long album, and they had to cut tracks. And when I got it, I didn't have a lot of details, but when I got it, I found that there's 3 tracks they cut. So that feels kind of like a lot. Now, they've promised that no other limited run vinyls are ever going to be missing tracks. Magdalene, one of the previous releases, also was missing 2 tracks, actually. 1 real track and 1 reprise. This was missing 3 tracks, but it is missing the 3 shortest tracks, which is the 3 final tracks. So they're all the short songs rather than the long songs. And anyway, the CD that came out with this, the gold disc CD remastered, has all of the tracks, and when you purchase the vinyl, they give you the rip stream. So you get to download those, so at least you have all of them that way. But when it comes to the vinyl, they had to cut those because of time restraints. The other thing different about the limited run vinyl this time around, they all are coming with inserts now, but now the insert is actually a sleeve. It's got the lyrics on one side. It's got the collage pictures, I'm sure Scott did, on this side. It's on the pretty color vinyl. These are the first batch to come out with the splatter vinyl. Very pretty tiger looking stripe, black and orange. But you notice the sleeve is a paper sleeve. All of the other limited run vinyl prior to this were the polylined sleeves, the black sleeves with the polyline. These are not polylined. I stuck one of my poly bags in there to make it polylined. So that, I don't know, you know, I can replace it fine. I like having the insert. I like having the sleeve. But boy, these paper sleeves like this is another album like one that I had recently where it was tough. The static of just getting that album out, it was really tough. But I got it out, put it in the plastic sleeve, and set it back in there. So that's the difference in the limited run vinyl that they have just done with this. And this is the second one the Retroactive did, Siloam. I remember I bought this album in a Christian bookstore way back in the day, had no clue who they were. Bought it strictly because they looked cool. You could look at them and say, hey, they got hats on. They could be, country. But you could see all the guys have the long hair and everything, and just these guys have these hats. I bought it sight unseen, no idea who they were, and got in the car and threw it in and was blown away. I loved it. Subsequent albums after this were different, and I didn't love them as much, so I'm glad to see this one came out on vinyl. I mean, I would probably still buy them. I have them on CD, but this was still my favorite of their 3 or 4 albums. Another one of the Splatter ones, yellow and reddish and black, so that was really cool. And another one that's still in the sleeve. This one doesn't have a lot of pictures because there wasn't a whole lot of pictures, I guess, around the band. It's just got the lyrics. And again, I stuck one of my poly sleeves in the paper sleeve. So, glad to have those two. That's it. That's it for now. Yeah. Thanks for watching. This has probably gone on longer than I needed to, but I wanted to get something out this week. Have a few more things coming in. I do have some more limited run vinyl that I thought we'd be here in time for this video, but I believe it's probably going to show up tomorrow. So in a day or 2 or 3, I'll be doing this again. You come back and check it out. Thanks a lot for watching. Rock on and God bless.